Choose your hard. Something that takes effort is going to be difficult. Something that doesn't take effort, sitting on the couch and eating potato chips and playing video games all day, is still hard. Why is it hard? Because your life sucks. What I've learned about myself is the more authentically me I'm being, the more people are insanely attracted to me or insanely repelled by me. And if everybody's just kind of like, there's Josh, probably means I'm not really living my true self.
Welcome back, guys, to the Dr. Moe Show with Josh Tomeoni today. And I'm going to do this during the episode. We call this the Freedom to Shift because initially my podcast was about traditional to non-traditional careers. I have a lot of friends who have gone very circuitous routes and gone from one profession to the next. Some went from physics to professional triathlon. But then in every episode I had, somebody had a shift in their health or a shift in their circumstances, in their relationships. And having that freedom, that permission to change your life and to choose a new route just ended up being kind of the freedom to shift, which is where we are today. Thanks, Josh, for hanging out with me. Please tell me who you are. I see your name is listed here as Josh the Derelict, which makes me extremely happy. So I want to know who you are, what you do. I want my listeners to hear what they need to know about you.
Good. Why does it make you happy? Most people don't even know what that word means. It just sounded good to you.
Plethora is in there with me too. It's my fun words that normal people don't use.
I love it. You know, I used to have a dog and I named her Per se, like the legal term, because why not?
Yeah.
So who am I? Well, the reason it says Josh the Derelict is that's kind of my namesake. And to go to that word real quick, most people have only heard of that word if they saw Zoolander a long time ago and they remember the Derelict campaign. I won't ruin it for you. Go YouTube it and you'll see that. But derelict basically means outcast. It means abandoned. It means thrown aside. It is used in nautical terms like a broken down ship. If you Google derelict, you're going to see a bunch of broken down buildings, maybe some homeless people, etc. So why would I possibly want that as a namesake? Well, here's the reason why. It's because of the shift that I went through in my life. So in my mid-30s, Dr. Moe, I'm now 41. In my mid-30s, I went through a really big shift. I went through a shift primarily because of my divorce that I went through. And that basically spurred me into version 2.0 of myself. It was, let's call it maybe an early midlife crisis for me. And it shifted everything in my life. It's actually when I started taking my health very seriously. It's when I shifted things around in my business. It's when, obviously, in my biggest relationship in my life, I had been married for a long time at that point. That shifted. That shifted who I was with. Not only my romantic partner, but also all my friends, my community, my church at the time. Everything shifted at that time. So that's really, I think the reason the derelict namesake has come about from the last couple of years is that I think when people go through these shifts, a lot of the times they feel outcast, they feel abandoned, they feel thrown aside, and they feel like, well, if I can't be a part of this community and where I am or where I was before, who am I? Right? I talk about this a lot on my podcast and other guest appearances and everything else that I do. The number one highest suicide rate is 35 to 50-year-old men. And those are men that I coach. I'm also in that demographic of men. And what people might wonder is why? If you are in your 40s and you have a family and you have a business and now you're supposedly making money and having success, I mean, this is the prime of a guy's life.
You've arrived.
Right,
but
exactly.
Then why do I feel so empty?
Yeah. So much so that some guys just decide to end it all and other guys decide not to end it all. And they decide to go out and have a, quote, midlife crisis where they find a younger woman, they find a hotter car, they find whatever. Fill in the blank. And what I've noticed is that it's because this is the time where a lot of guys have lived a lot of their life maybe as a false identity. They haven't really known who they were. And now when it confronts them, like, who am I? It's the same thing I had to confront when I went through my divorce. Who am I? Who am I without my marriage? Who am I without this picture perfect business and family and marriage and everything else that I had? And that you only have two choices when you come up with a T in the road like that. And you can either choose to dig deeper into addictions and medicative behaviors, whether that's drugs and alcohol and women and sex or men or whatever your preference is, shopping,
Anger,
gambling, whatever it
fear.
is. What?
Anger and fear.
Anger, fear, absolutely. You're just digging deeper into whatever that is. Or you can choose, hey, I'm actually going to become more authentic in myself. I'm actually going to heal. I'm going to go on this journey of healing and self-discovery. And that's the one I've been on for the last 7 years. And I love walking alongside other men that are doing the same thing as well. That's who I am.
That's amazing. I went through a similar, I'm trying to think of how old I was. At the crossroads that you spoke of, I was at a very, very low point. Most of the people who know me don't know I was that low. I'm very good at hiding things. I actually wanted to post this on social media. I'll do it here. It's a bit safer of a space that, the physician suicide rates are higher. Any suicide rate is higher than we'd like it to be. And in any demographic, attempt suicide more but succeed less unless you're a physician. And we succeed just as often as men, unfortunately, because we know how, right? We're not fooling around. It had to be, it was 2009, which tells you, I'm like, I don't know how many years ago that was. But mid 30s, late 30s, we'll call it late. And I used to call it because I had the choice. I knew I couldn't live the way my head currently was. I was hypercritical. I didn't know how to, I couldn't live there anymore. And my choice was either, like you said, you dig or you change, and I couldn't live there anymore. And I talked the way I phrased it, and I wrote about it in my book, Happy First. It's not quite as deep as I talk about now because, it's the safer spaces now. But I wrote about it like walking around bleeding from your eyeballs. Because when you actually choose to grow, that it's walking around with no skin. You're so raw and you feel everything and you don't know how to handle anything because you're working with a new set of everything. Like your brain's different. You're teaching your brain to work differently. Everything's different and you don't know how to do anything. And that's my biggest, as a coach, I coach physicians through life shifts, identity shifts. And my biggest thing is I never want someone to feel alone. I do the same with my fat loss clients. Those are my lower ticket clients because I want that accessible to everyone. I never want somebody to feel alone. And because we know going through that crap, it's not for the meek. And
It's not.
I think it's awesome that you help men through that. It's funny, my physician coaches, my clients have traditionally been female. I'm seeing a surgence of men come my way. And I didn't see that coming. But in reality, I have a fairly masculine energy for what that's worth for having good relationships. It's not always a positive characteristic, but it does help, They need help.
For sure. Where do you think that surge is coming from?
From what I've seen, or from people I've talked to, a couple of doctors that are still working clinically full time, one of them said to me, 70-year-old male, jokingly, hysterically, says, I've heard it's okay to die at work, so I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Because he doesn't know how to do anything differently.
Right.
But I think the more voices we have out there, because people say, oh, there's too much competition. There is no competition. There is no competition. There are only voices you resonate with, people that you think you can learn from, and people that you would like to unfollow. That there's no competition. It's you, like you find your people. Your clients aren't my clients. One of my coaches actually coaches the same demographic that I coach. We don't feel threatened because we know we have very different energies and we're going to resonate with very different people. But I think maybe that more of us get out there and say, no, we can help. And we're not going to help in a woo-woo, airy-fairy, let's sing kumbaya way. We're going to help you with strategies and getting shit done.
Well, some people help with that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Some people do the woo-woo, airy-fairy strategies.
And some people want that too, to your point, right? Different energies. I mean, you mentioned several really good things. Number one is, let's go back to your masculine energy. Every female, every male has masculine and feminine energy, right? The majority of men have majority masculine energy. The majority of women have majority feminine energy, but that doesn't mean we don't have the other. And it also doesn't mean that there aren't outliers that have majority of the other energy. You look at any straight couple, any gay couple, any couple, it doesn't matter. You're going to find if they're going to be successful at all, one's going to primarily have one energy, one's going to primarily have the other energy, irregardless of their biology. That being said, different energies come out in different settings as well, right? A lot of the women that I talk to really struggle with how to bring their feminine energy into the workplace, because a lot of workplaces are very primarily masculine energy, at least from what I understand. Would you agree with that statement?
I would. Well, we're respected more when we present ourselves with a
Right.
masculine energy. Now, I'm going to flip that around on you and ask, how do you have that energy at work and then come home and shift?
Well, so that's the other piece, right? Is that if you're at home raising children, whether you're male or female, feminine energy is going to be respected more, generally speaking, in the home, just like masculine energy is going to be respected more in the workplace. So, how do you switch back and forth? You know, like myself, I am that traditional male. I have primarily masculine energy. I definitely have feminine energy that comes out, but I'm primarily masculine energy. And that has, well, I mean, it's put me at a point where I'm 41 and single. So there's that, right? I'm sure that probably has something to do with it. Not that that's a bad thing. It's actually great. I live a wonderful life, but I'm still single. And I think part of the reason why is because, again, in the home, that's like a feminine energy space, or at least it's more well appreciated, at least a lot of the time. So that being said, though, to your point, we also have different clients or people that we work with simply because of how our energies match up. You might have a really amazing client that you match up really well if you're strong in your masculine energy and they're actually strong in their feminine energy, right? Just like a couple, just it's a magnet, right? The same might also be true. Somebody might come to you with really strong masculine energy and you meet them with strong masculine energy because it's what they need for their coaching. It's what they need for help with. You know, I have 2 daughters and a son, and I've definitely gotten in trouble in the past bringing really strong masculine energy to my 2 very feminine daughters when they're having a problem. It's not helpful. I've had to learn that. I had to learn that the hard way in my marriage, but I had to learn it even harder as a dad by myself. Like when they're with me, I'm a single dad. I'm not a single dad, but you know what I mean. So, because when they bring a problem with their feminine energy, the last thing they need is this masculine, like, just do this, you can do it, you know.
You know what you should do? Okay, go ahead.
Right.
What?
And I would say the same thing. So the same thing happened last night where my son is a wrestler. He had a wrestling match, and honestly, he didn't do well. Not at all. He should have beat the kid. He was getting crushed. And he was at his mom's house, so I was just there to watch the wrestling match, and then I went up to say, you know, to talk to him a little bit, super upset, like on the verge of tears, basically just because he's pissed. Which, by the way, is a good thing, right? Like, if anyone's watching this,
if you
and
fail,
you are
it's
the
okay
parent,
to be angry.
if you're the parent that goes up to the kid afterwards and says, well, it's okay, and, you know, don't worry about it, and it's not about winning, that's bullshit. It is. You're not teaching them anything for life. So if your kid is upset after losing at a wrestling match, that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because what that means is that they're actually competitive. They're out there to win. They're there to give their best. So I am very happy when I saw that. But the reason I'm mentioning this is because often what I see from his mom or other people is that they'll bring feminine energy into that situation. When he's sitting there, he's upset, he's pissed, he's trying to figure out, what did I do wrong? What do I need to do better, etc. That needs masculine energy at that moment to be like, look, I'm proud of you. I love you. You did this. You can do this better. Let's talk about this. Let's strategize, right? Those sort of things. If you bring in this feminine energy of, well, it's okay, it's not about winning, and you're okay, and everything's fine, that's not going to teach him anything. I'm not going to give him a trophy because he didn't do well last night.
And it doesn't make him feel good. Like, I don't know if anyone else who's listening felt that, right? You either have, listen, I love you, you sucked, okay? Let's figure out why and let's make it better, because nobody wants to live a life where they suck. They might act like they want to because it's harder to succeed. But even the energy in that conversation, I could feel from you that if I was in that situation and you told me, if I finish, I don't know, recording something, doing something, creating something, coaching call, whatever, and I get off and I'm like, that sucked. Okay, that wasn't very good. What do I do? You've got to break it. In the hospital, we call it an RCA. It's a root cause analysis. You look at the process. You don't look at, you're not belittling people. You say, all right, what did we do that we can do better? That's reality. And that makes you feel like you have power and you are in control and you have a chance to get better, rather than you're okay the way you are. No, I'm not. I'm a soft marshmallow and I'm terrible at
For
this
sure.
job.
I talk a lot about failure, and a lot of people have an issue, I think, even with the word. And I think the reason why is because it makes people feel like a failure. It's a shame. It's like, I am a failure.
Like being fat. You're
But
not fat. You have excess fat. There's a difference.
Right. Yeah, that's a conversation I have with my kids all the time in this PC world that we live in. Like, I'll say, well, I was like, well, that person's fat. Like, oh, you're not supposed to say that, but they are. Like, what?
So they hold excess fat on their body that they don't need.
Right. They're fat.
Yep.
Okay.
Like you can't. And I'm 5'4".
It's not the same shame
sure.
if somebody goes up to somebody and they're like, you're skinny, because we live in a fat shame culture, not a skinny shame culture. Anyway,
we're getting there. Anyway, but that's another
that's
a different podcast.
It's a whole different podcast. We could go off on that forever. I even forgot where I was going.
Shoot, and I totally interrupted. No, you're talking about failure. Sorry.
Failure. Yeah. So what's interesting is look up the definition of failure, not the first definition. The second, because the first definition is just lack of success. If you look up the second definition of failure, it says that essentially you were trying to accomplish something or trying to do something and it wasn't done. So it's a very, very simple thing that basically just said, hey, there was an intended purpose, there was an intended goal that wasn't accomplished. Now, if you look at it by that definition, and I screwed up that definition, so look it up, it's a better one. But if you look it up by that definition, what that means is any time in my life that I intended to do something, such as, say, the definition of failure, even though I fucked that up, and I fuck it up, that's a failure. So I just failed literally at giving the failure definition. Now, does that make me a failure? No. Do I feel bad about it? No. Do I have a bunch of shame about it? No. So what I notice is that we live in a world where that is even wrong. And that's so wrong that it shames us to where we never want to fail. And then if we never want to fail and we never are willing to fail, then we're never willing to do anything. And take my son as an example. If I just go up to him after every wrestling match and like, oh, you're perfect and you're amazing and here's a trophy because he sucked, like, what is that going to teach him in life? What it's going to teach him in life is he's going to become one of those young adults that are out there right now that just expect everything and don't give any sort of effort and just want the world. And that just doesn't work. That's not how life works.
You have to push the ball up the hill to get it to roll down. That's all there is to it. I mean, it's physics. It's you just can't. Yeah, you can't. Sorry, that's it. That's in my book. It's one of my strong points that it just. And people say, well, how much? Like when I teach physicians how to move in their careers, and like, well, how much effort is this really going to take? I'm like, way less than medical school, guys. It's like an hour a day for the first 6 weeks, and then just bear with me. Yes, it's going to take effort. People who want passive income, that's a myth. Hate to tell you. Because guess what you have to do? People say, oh, somebody asked me once, are you a financial advisor? Because I said I help people through, I remember exactly what I said. And I'm like, no, because people don't need a financial advisor until they have money. I teach people how to make money.
Yeah, it's choose your hard.
Yeah, 100%.
Something that takes effort is going to be difficult. Something that doesn't take effort, sitting on the couch and eating potato chips and playing video games all day, is still hard. Why is it hard? Because your life sucks. Because you're unfulfilled and you're unhappy and you're not doing anything that's giving you any sort of peace or encouragement or excitement in your life.
And you know that. Like, yeah, you know what that feels like. And
look, kids know it too, Dr. Moe. Like if I give, now that being said, I'm still the guy that coached my kids when they're in first grade and gave everybody a trophy because they're in first grade. I don't care. You're going to get a trophy because you came and
because you showed up.
As long as you showed up and you played and everything else. If you sat on the side the whole time or you quit or whatever, fuck it. You're not getting a trophy. But if you showed up and you played the game and you tried, you're getting a trophy. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody gets a trophy, though, for the rest of their life. I think it's different if you're in kindergarten or first grade versus if you're 40. We can't use that as the exact same thing, right? Like, as a 41-year-old, I still want trophies. I still want people to come and give me trophies. Like, yeah, tell me how amazing I am, etc.
And tell me I'm pretty. It's all good. 51 doesn't change it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But it doesn't actually, at the end of the day, like if I get those accolades and I get those trophies, the joy or the happiness from that lasts about what, 5 minutes? Maybe. Maybe a day, maybe a week, depending on what I accomplished.
It's funny.
Here's another example. I'm still on this path for about a year now. I've been trying to figure out social media as an old man. So I was off social media.
I am 10 years your senior, so bite your tongue.
Well, here's what I mean in social media world, and here's the reason why. So I was an early adopter of Facebook, had it when I was in college, when you had to be in college to have it. So like I've had social media when I was younger. Then when my first child was born, I deleted everything because I just didn't want to be one of those parents where all their stuff was online but it's going to happen anyway. That being said, got rid of all of it until about a year ago when I updated some of my businesses, wanted to do some more marketing, etc. So I've been trying to figure out how to do all this stuff. Here's the reason I'm telling you any of that. Just recently, speaking of failure, I was going to post a very specific series that I was doing on social media. I was really excited about it. I was really excited about how it was getting edited, the quotes that I was doing, all this sort of stuff. I launched it. People fucking hated it. Like hated it. I got so much hate mail. More hate mail than I've ever gotten on anything that I've ever done. Attacking me personally, telling me how terrible of a person I am, all this sort of stuff. So I had a choice. I could either just keep doing it and be obstinate and be like, fuck them, this is great. People just don't see that it's great. I could shame myself and say, you're a terrible person. You're a piece of shit. Why did you even try to do this? I can't believe that's so embarrassing. You are a terrible human being. Or I could do the third choice, which is what I eventually ended up doing, and saying, you know what? I spent a lot of time on this. I was really excited about it. I was really passionate about it. And it was wrong. I failed. It is not something that's going to work.
It wasn't the intended outcome.
It wasn't the intended outcome. And frankly, that ruined an entire weekend of filming for me, a bunch of editing. Like I had already edited 50 videos at this point, and I decided, I was like, I got to can it. And the reason why is because my intent with these videos is not coming across the way that I want it to come across. So it's not hitting the audience I need it to hit. And the comments are more about like the editing and the style and everything else. I was like, look, if somebody's going to get mad at me, they're going to get mad at me for what I'm saying, not because of how something's edited. So what I realized is, well, if the intent is to get across what I'm saying, to get across quotes, to get across messaging, but the people are upset by the way that it's edited or designed or put together, then that's not accomplishing its purpose. Because if somebody's so distracted by that they're not hearing the message, then I need to figure out a different way of relaying that message in a way that people can hear it, and that noise is not going to distract them from the message, right?
That's a heck of a lesson.
It was a heck of a lesson. And honestly, it was hard as fuck, Dr. Moe. Like I was upset about it. I don't like it when people are mad at me. I don't love like conflict just for conflict's sake. Like some of the people, the comments that they're mentioning, like it was like first time in my life I've ever actually reported somebody on social media because of how rude some people were. And it wasn't even about what I said. It was just about like the editing and design and everything else, which is just insane to me. But there's a couple things with that. Number one, it's far easier to be a critic than an artist. It's far easier to critique something than create something. And what I found in my life is most of the people that are the biggest at critiquing and the biggest at being a critic are the ones that don't create shit in their life.
They're on the couch eating potato chips.
Absolutely. So you got to decide, are you going to be a creator or are you going to be a critic? It's up to you.
Yeah.
Up to your whole audience.
Think about this, right? So there's a prevailing opinion out there that, social media is terrible, right? And our coach, Dan Martell, has talked about this. I align with Dan's perspective of social media isn't a thing. It's a medium, right? It's a social media. And mine is very cultivated. When you look at my feed, and I actually have some physicians that I used to follow that it's so funny. This one, I saw a couple of his posts and I was like, why do I not follow this guy? He sounds familiar. And I used to follow him. And then like the fourth post was like, oh, cause he's crazy.
Yeah.
Never mind. You're gone.
I literally just sent a message to a guy on LinkedIn of all places because I realized I was like several of his posts pop up and they're all like just super like negative, tearing down politicians, famous people, whatever.
Yeah.
And I literally sent him a message. I said, is there a reason that your entire web presence is just tearing other people down? I would ask you to maybe reconsider that.
Yeah. And that's valid feedback that he's probably going to take offense to.
He probably will. But you know what? He's a friend of mine. Maybe he's still a friend after this. Maybe he's not. I don't care. But the point is
Your
that
side of the street is clean, and
he has an opportunity now.
yeah,
Just
now
like I did. Just like I did. And trust me, when going back to my story, which is the first time I've shared this, so we'll see how much I share this on social media. I probably will. But here's the point. The point is that when it first failed, I felt personally attacked. I felt like, oh man. And it was really easy for me to throw into that shame cycle and be like, man, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm this old man trying to figure out social media. It's all against me. I don't know. Like, I wasted so much time, like all of that shit.
All the time, all the money, all the story. Yeah.
Right. And then I had to literally have a conversation with myself. And sometimes for me, what helps, and this might help your listeners too, what I found is really helpful when I get into these shame cycles is talk to yourself out loud. Because if you say these things out loud to yourself, they sound insane. The stuff that's in your brain, if you say it out loud, I promise you it sounds insane.
Mm-hmm.
And it's much easier to be kinder to yourself if you're speaking out loud. So what I started doing is I spoke to myself out loud and like, okay, Josh, here's the deal. Maybe this thing failed. Maybe people just didn't like the editing or the way that you're doing it. It clearly wasn't as cool as you thought it was because of the way people were commenting, and they obviously don't like it. But what's your intent here? Well, your intent is to try to get good messaging out, good quotes, help men become stronger men. So if it's not reaching that purpose, is there another way you can do this? Or are you just going to quit? And literally when I say that to myself out loud, I'm like, well, of course I'm not going to quit. But if I say it in my brain, Dr. Moe, I want to quit all day long.
Oh yeah, makes sense. No, this makes total sense. I can never do this again. I'm never going to succeed. You just found another way not to make a light bulb. And the good news is you failed spectacularly. So like you actually found about 45 ways not to make a light bulb.
Right.
All in one go. But it's funny you say that.
It's funny you said that too, because I literally just posted that Thomas Edison quote the other day because I was trying to put up, I should show you over here. I was trying to put up these stupid, like a shade in my office because I need some more darkness here for when I edit and stuff. And it was just one of those times where I literally just kept drilling holes and just kept messing up. So there's just now a bunch of extra holes in my wall because I kept fucking up doing this because this is how I am with home improvement projects. Ladies that are watching me, that like, if you realize like, yeah, that guy's single. Yeah. If you want a guy who does home improvement projects, keep moving. It's not me. So there's a bunch of holes in the wall. And that's literally what I posted online. I was like, you know what? I think the Thomas Edison quote is great for this, which is, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I just found 10,000 ways not to make the light bulb. And that's how I felt when I was drilling all these holes. I was like, look, I just keep fucking up, but eventually I'm going to find the one that works. And eventually this stupid shade's going to go up here. And the same thing is true on social media. If your video doesn't work and people don't watch it, it's not the algorithm's fault. It's the fact that your video sucks.
Right. I was just talking to a friend of mine who's another provider. She owns a medical practice like the one I founded. And she actually said, she goes, you know what? It's not the algorithm. People watch content that's good. My content isn't good enough. And I thought that was great insight, because usually you got to fight with people because they're bitching about the algorithm. I'm like, that's like saying your teacher gave you a bad grade. Your teacher didn't give you a bad grade.
The algorithm is people. The algorithm is people. So here's the other way to think about it though, right? Like take a wildly popular sitcom. And usually for me, I'm the type of person that generally speaking does not like wildly popular sitcoms because they're dumb. And I just don't like them. Like there's no intelligent thought there. The acting is terrible. The stories are shit. Like that's my own personal opinion. Now, is my personal opinion the majority? No, because sitcoms are wildly fucking popular. So if I were to say all that is shit video, well, a bunch of people think it's not though. So here's the thing with the algorithm too, right? Like you still might be creating good content that's just not going out there because of the fact that it's just not popular.
Yeah.
You ever think about that?
We might have to dance on TikTok.
There is exactly. There's a reason why stupid shit is popular because people like watching stupid shit. So if your shit's not stupid, maybe it's not going to go popular. I mean, it might not. I don't know. Or here's the other thing to think about too, is that, yeah, you think about this, like the other thing that I struggle with sometimes is I'll say something that I think is really, like, here's a test you can do. Go on to a really popular person's page, find a really popular video, find out exactly what they say, and try to make it so it's just like a very simple video, like somebody just talking in their office or something. Mimic the exact video and post it and see what your results are. Well, if that person has 100 million followers and you have 100, your video is not going to go as well as theirs. It's just not going to. That's just the way that it fucking works. So don't blame that as well, but also don't give up. That's what I've learned when it comes to those sort of things. Just keep making a better video. Try to figure out, well, what was it about this one that worked so much better than this one?
My highest performing video was recently, my highest performing reel was, I was on a collaborative call with John Mark, who's also in our coaching group as well. And he and I both own telemedicine practices, very vastly different, the way we provide care. So we collaborate on things and, we work through things. He's a non-medical founder, I'm a medical founder. Anyway, so we get together and we hash out details, and I'm on this Zoom call with him and he hops up on the table to change a light bulb. And so it's a Zoom call like this, and it's his feet on the desk and me. And I screenshot it. I'm like, I'm sharing this. And I said, how do you know your your collaborative Zoom meetings are getting out of hand? It literally was 10x the views I normally get. And I was like, but I have a message and
Right.
It's important. And you want to look at John Mark's legs? That's
I
it,
think,
really?
I think the other thing too, that like, this is something too, and I'll just be honest. Well, I'm always honest, but I've been struggling with this lately too. So I'm going to speak it because I think that people will respond to this. And that is, you also got to just not be so fucking serious all the time. Just let it go every once in a while. Like I've been in this season where, because of a couple of different businesses that I'm trying to run and I'm trying to expand and all this shit, like it's just been a state of busyness. Very, very busy for me recently. And one of the things when I get busy is I very much get into work mode, task oriented, type A, get shit done. And that generally is not fun. It just generally isn't. And it's not that life has to be about fun, but what I've realized, and I often realize when I'm in these states, is that you need to take a breath. Like, just relax for a second. Post something online that is fun, that you like you said, the Zoom thing. People like that because it's silly and it's fun, and there's too much serious shit going on everywhere in the world. So there's nothing more attractive than when somebody is living their true, authentic self. And I think that's part of the problem a lot of people have with social media, is it doesn't feel that way. But you know what? A lot of the most popular videos out there are the ones where people are just being authentically themselves.
Yeah.
My most popular reel still to this day, and I'm not an influencer by any means, but my most popular reel was just sitting down, just stating what somebody else said, just a quote about rejection. That was it. And I posted it on Valentine's Day. And I think that people resonated with that because it's a dude talking about rejection on Valentine's Day. Like,
yeah.
Of course you're going to resonate with that. But there's no fucking edit. Like, I didn't even have my editors do that one. I did it myself.
Oh.
There was no editing. The video quality was honestly pretty shitty. I was having another issue with my camera like I am today. Like, I just put some captions on there myself. You know what I mean? But it was just authentic and it was just real and it was what people are feeling. And I think that's what people forget about social media as well, and marketing and everything else. It's just like real life. Like, how do people respond to you in real life? Do they respond better when you're authentic and you show up present as yourself and you're just there and nothing else matters? Or do they show up better if you're coming and you're bringing some show?
They're all dressed
We all
up
know the
and-
people we respond to the best.
Yeah.
They're the
And
ones
there
that
are
show up as
certainly, and there are absolutely, there's someone, like you said, it's like a relationship, right? If you're looking for a coach, there's someone for everyone, you know?
You know what I found, Dr. Mo? This is something that was difficult for me because I'm a recovering codependent. So this is
At least you're
difficult-
recovering. I'm still hanging out there. No, just kidding. I've spent many years in recovery. Yes.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
good
yeah.
news is I'm over over the hump for the most part.
I believe I am as well. I have very few moments anymore. But this is something that has been difficult for me to learn. And that is what I've learned about myself is the more authentically me I'm being, the more people are insanely attracted to me or insanely repelled by me. There's no middle ground. So what I often do just as a, just kind of an analysis is I'll look around my life and I'll be like, where am I? Because if I'm at a place where people are just kind of here with me, that's a problem. That probably means I'm not living my authentic self. Because what I've found for myself is that when I'm living as authentically as possible, I have extremes with people. People either hate me and they're repelled by it, or they love me and they just want to hang out with me all the time. And if everybody's just kind of like, there's Josh, it probably means I'm not really living my true self.
That's a hell of an insight. That's an amazing insight. And I think that, gosh, that's perfect, because for many years, a lot of us, like you said, like in the beginning, we talked about this, that people are living kind of a false reality. When you're in high school, you have no idea who you are. So that's kind of a given. Like you're bouncing around trying to figure out anything, high school, college, grad school. Can I keep going?
I was going to say 40s. I mean, like,
Oh
I
my
still
God.
feel that way.
51, I'm still there. I'm just starting a new career, right? And I mean, that's another thing, with that kind of shift, but going from being a traditional on the ground, loving emergency medicine, regular doctor to I founded a lifestyle medicine practice that I don't do the medical part. I do the policy part. I do the supervision part. I'm the coach. I'm not it was an identity shift. I lost half my hair. I got shingles. It was a rough go, but that's why most people don't leave their jobs or their relationships, or they just don't change and they just wait to die. It's a long time. Oh, God willing, it's a long time,
And again, choose your hard, right?
Yeah.
You can do the hard where maybe it's just going to be a couple years of stress and it's going to be difficult and you're going to have to do a lot of hard things. Or you could choose the hard of just living out your life. I mean, I saw this and I've seen this with a lot of people. I've been a financial planner for a very long time as far as like my main career goes.
The first career. Well, the second probably.
First career. So yeah, it's just the ongoing one that will probably last for the rest of my life. Anyway, the reason I mentioned that is that I've helped a lot of people retire. And I can tell you one thing that I see is that there's two very definite people that retire. Those are ones with purpose and mission and ones without. And the ones without are the ones that, like my grandfather, as an example, retires, gets a pension from the state back when pensions existed, and sat on the couch, read big war and history books, watched the news, had really bad health, and then died. And then there was his wife, who loved to garden. She loved her crossword puzzles, and she had a full-time job taking care of him. And you could imagine and she also smoked nonstop, right? She had a lot of unhealthy habits, but you can imagine which one was just happier, more joyful, more alive in purpose, because one had a reason to do things and the other one didn't. And
I just talked to a client yesterday about choosing relevance over retirement.
Yeah.
I despise the word retirement. There's a difference between choosing to go to work or choosing to do something that makes money, which I think everyone should, because number one, people don't pay attention if they don't pay. And number two, it's a barometer for how much value you're putting into the world and why you have this whole life of experience when you're not going to share it.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people that don't. And that's fine. That's their prerogative as well. There's no forcing. But again, anybody.
They're not the people who are listening to us either.
No, they're not. They're not. Yeah, it's, and I guess this kind of goes back to my comment about what I've been thinking about and learning lately about just how I just need to take a breath every once in a while and try to just have fun and do something entertaining, even if it's just entertaining for me, because that's what keeps you, I think, on your mission and purpose. Because I think whenever at least for myself as a type A kind of action oriented type of guy, I can very easily get off my mission and purpose when it just has to do with tasks and whatever the next thing is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%.
I was watching a video. Oh man, one of the best videos I've ever seen. It was Jeff Bezos, like I don't even know how many years ago, at least 20, maybe 30. Dude was just locked in when he was talking about. But what he was talking about is he was talking about being passionate and obsessed with the customer experience. And the interviewer kept bringing it around to other things. And Bezos would just interrupt him and be like, no, it's about the customer experience. Everything's about the customer experience. Everything is about making sure the customer has the absolute best experience. And that's all he cared about. And every time the interviewer would say things that most people would get off track with and start another conversation, he just kept coming back to it. So love or hate the guy, the reason he built a $2 trillion fucking company is because of the fact that his only goddamn focus for the entire fucking time he was building that was customer experience. So love or hate Amazon, love or hate Jeff Bezos, the reason that he was so successful is because of the fact that he had laser-like focus like nobody else did, and has started the biggest company ever? I don't know if that's the biggest company ever, but it's near there.
Certainly the most well-known.
And that's all because of his focus on customer experience, and that's what he cared about, and that's all he cared about, no matter what anybody else was saying. And I think that there's a lot of things that we can glean from that. For myself, for my own life, again, back to my example of failing at the internet, I can think about, okay, but what's my mission and purpose? What am I actually trying to accomplish here? And if I'm not accomplishing it the way that I'm doing it, I should probably find a different way of doing it if I actually want to accomplish the mission. Or I could be stubborn and obstinate and just keep doing the same thing that's not working and then not accomplish my mission.
Or decide the mission isn't what you want to accomplish and determine, what is your path? What is your mission? But again, like you said, if you're sitting on the couch,
but not letting anybody else tell you what that is. So
that doesn't come from.
The reason that I shut down the videos and didn't post anymore wasn't because of negative feedback. It was because of the fact that the people that I wanted to respond and get the message weren't getting it. So I realized it wasn't a matter of like, oh my gosh, people were mean to me, so I'm going to not do the videos. It had nothing to do with that. It's the fact that I failed. I failed at delivering the videos the way that I wanted to deliver them to get to the people that I wanted to get them. So if that's not accomplishing my mission and purpose, then I'm going to change courses. And I just had to listen to people say, this isn't accomplishing your mission. Okay, great. Got it. Let me figure out a way to do it.
Head down, what's next? Because you won't get any closer to getting the people hearing your message until you try something that does.
Right. Absolutely. Good stuff.
Yeah.
This is a good conversation. I've enjoyed it.
I love it. So we're going to end on being abysmal failures and loving it. Because why not?
Why not?
That's just it. If we accept it without shame, if we accept wow, I did not do that well. Okay, carry on. How are you going to do it better next time? It removes, again, it's the shame cycle, right? We codependents, we get that. You got to beat yourself up for a little bit first, or not. Because, and that's one thing actually being in business that's shown me, is that I don't have time to beat myself up. There is no time for that. Keep moving fast.
So here, just because of the fact that I literally failed at giving the definition of failure earlier, I'm going to look it up and give it to you this time. Okay?
All right.
So the second definition of failure in the Oxford Language Dictionary states, the omission of expected or required action. Said again, the omission of expected or required action. So all it means is that there was some sort of action that was either expected or required that didn't happen. That's it. That's all failure is.
Pretty boring.
It's very boring. That means that you and me and everybody listening to this fails every single day of our life. So why are we so scared of the word? Why are we so scared of failing if we literally fail all the time? So if we fail, great. Like, I'm excited now when I fail. Not initially, but I can get there. And the reason I'm excited is because, well, now I can do something about it. Now I realize, like, guess what? I just figured out these videos didn't work after like 5 videos instead of after 10,000. Wonderful. Now I can change courses and hopefully find something else. And then that'll fail after 5, and then change courses, and that'll fail, and then that'll fail, and then that'll fail, and then that'll fail. Right? You listen to anybody that does anything, it's just, what's the next thing then? But we have to accept failure in order to get to the next thing. Have to.
That's perfect. The beauty of failure, because we never see it that way, and we don't. So although I could probably talk for another 3 hours, we're not going to Joe Rogan this.
No.
When men are looking and saying, I feel like I'm drifting, where do I go? Where do they find you?
Good question. You can reach out to me on Instagram is a good place to reach out. I am Josh the Derelict, just like my name says. So go to Instagram, Josh the Derelict. Send me a message. I still respond personally to all of my messages. I think that's really important to me because of the fact that I really do want to talk to people. So if you go to Instagram, Josh the Derelict, and I'm happy to chat with you. I'll offer this too to your listeners, Dr. Moe, just because I like you and I've had a good conversation here as well. If you go there and just send me a message that says, Dr. Moe, I'm happy to provide a free coaching session for you as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a $500 value. Happy to do it. And here's the reason why. The reason why is because I found that a lot of men have a really hard time just taking that first step. It's just, there's just something like, again, it's kind of that shaming failure. Like, well, I don't, like, it's fine. I'll figure it out. It's okay. We all need a tribe. We all need somebody. Try a phone call with me. Have a conversation. Let's see if we can help and go from there. That's it.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. I definitely would encourage any listener out there to get in touch with you. And I just appreciate your time and your words more than you know.
Absolutely. I appreciate being here.